welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be making this Slimline Pop-Up box with these pink and white daisies. The die set we're going to be using is from Scrappy Tail Crafts, which is here, and they're called Whimsical Layering Daisies. These are some of the flowers that I actually made using this die set. You can do so many different things with them. I made this little bunch here. I also made this red flower here. I added some yellow stamens to it. And I also made this simple little yellow flower here. You can also use the die as is, which is seen here. I colored these with some Zig Clean color pens. You can also use distress inks to color these flowers. And look at the different variations that you can get from just one die set. I absolutely love it. The possibilities are endless. Now I'm going to show everyone how easy it is to make these flowers. We're going for a 3D look. I actually die cut the flowers using watercolor paper since I was going to be using a water-based pen. The watercolor paper here is Aquarello Artistico, and it's a really good paper and I really like using it. So now I'm going to get ready to color up the flowers that I already have pre-die cut, and I'm going to start out using my Zig pens since this is the flower that I actually used in the project that I showed. And with the Zig pens, you can use its water if you want to, but I chose not to. I'm just going to take it from pen direct to paper. And you don't need a lot of color, you just need to lay down just a touch of color because it goes a really long way, especially once you use a paint brush or a blending pen like I'm going to be using. And all you're doing is you're just going to be taking the color and pulling it towards the outer edges of the paper. And what's so nice about this is once it dries with these Zig pens, the color sort of becomes muted or washed out so that when it dries, you have a nice sort of white outer look to it, and it's like the middle section of the petals are like pink. Kind of probably not making so much sense, but once you see it, you'll see what I'm talking about, and it's very pretty. Now let's give our flowers a 3D look. First, I'm going to take all the flowers that I inked up here, and I'm going to be taking a black micron pen and adding just some little small tiny black dots to each of the petals. That's just to kind of make it or give it a more lifelike look. You don't have to do this, but for me, I just thought that it kind of brought it to life a little bit more. Now you're going to flip each of the flowers over and take your embossing tool, and you're going to be embossing each petal by simply running the embossing tool over each of the petals. And you notice as the flowers are sort of curling up towards you, you flip it over, and we're going to do the same towards the center here, and then the flower curls the other way. This is what it looks like when you're done doing that. Now we're going to take our flower and add some stamens to the center. Simply poke a hole through the center of your flower. I'm just using a pair of really sharp tweezers, or you can use a piercing tool. And you're going to poke a hole and then run your stamens through the centers. And then you can either use regular glue or hot glue. I prefer using hot glue because I feel like it has a more stronger hold, but either way works fine. You just want to make sure you add a good amount of glue, whichever glue that it is you use. I'm just going to add glue all around the center, and then what I do is sort of smush the flowers towards the glue just so it gets a nice good hold. And here's your flower all done and nice and pretty. Now let's make some leaves. What I did was I took one of the flowers and I simply used some distress ink and mold on, and I just blended the color on there. And all I'm going to do is emboss this leaf the same way as I did the flower. And I'm going to add it around the bottoms of the flower. I'm just going to glue it on there with some hot glue. And then you have your own makeshift leaves. And here's what the flower looks like with the leaves glued at the bottom. Look how pretty that looks. And these are the bunches I made of all the flowers that I had done, pre-made actually. And these are just so pretty. You can add them to almost anything, cards or whatever, but I'm going to be adding them to this Slimline box that I had already been working on earlier. I'm going to add some bunches, and this is what I mean by you can cut the stems so that you can glue it to your whatever it is you're gluing to a little bit easier versus you got this big bulky stem that's sort of sticking out. So I cut it at the base of the flower, just kind of glue them on, and I'm just going to glue them on different parts of my box here. And once I'm done, I'm going to decorate it up with all the Easter elements from the collection of dies from Scrappy Tail Crafts. Here I'm just going to glue on my grass, and then I'm going to add the Easter egg, which is a really nice size that I already colored ahead of time using my Zig Cling color pens. I'm just going to glue this on here, and I just really loved how it all turned out. I think the flowers along with the grass and the Easter egg just really brought it all together. I hope everyone enjoyed my video, and here's my completed box doing its own photo shoot. Isn't it pretty?